Welcome back to CBrush4K, and this is Outer Worlds 2. PC Gamer did a preview of it, and I decided to do a nice little summary of it because I did do another thing with Outer Worlds before. So I'm gonna do another one. I'm just gonna give you some of my basic grumbling thoughts about it. I'm not really gonna go into much detail. I'm just gonna flash through it. So let's go. Let's just go.
Commander, we've been hit by one of those space anomalies.
Buddy?
And the piloting system is down.
Buddy?
The astrogator's gears are shot!
Get a hold of yourself. You're an Earth Directorate agent.
Affirmative, Commander.
I'm way more...
Okay. If you've all been following everyone's complaint about, everything, you understand why I sit here rolling my eyes just there in a minute. Like a number of years ago, like say 20 years ago, that scene that we just saw, it kind of would have been funny because it's the reverse roles. But they've done so much in
Space anomalies?
Buddy?
The piloting system is down.
they've done so much to do the reverse of this over the years that it's sort of like, yeah, you're doing it's basically not funny because I understand that this is a part of your push for men to be in lesser roles and for women to be in more elevated roles. So I understand that, and it's sort of like, yeah, man, you're doing that again. It's not like I hate it. It's just I understand what you're doing now. Like, I think we all do at this point. And to say that we don't is kind of funny because everyone kind of does already. So yeah, let's keep going. I don't hate this game. It's just we'll get into it. But Outer Worlds 1, I don't think anybody really remembers it. I barely do.
For the Outer Worlds 2, now that I've played a little bit of it. Even though the demo Obsidian sent only contained the Sci-Fi RPG's prologue area, think the Nautiloid from Baldur's Gate 3, but more substantial than that particular tutorial. There was enough in the 30 to 45 minutes of gameplay that really impressed me. Enough, in fact, to sustain 3 playthroughs with different builds. I liked but didn't love the first game in 2019, but...
Thank you for pointing that out. I'm in that same headspace. I liked it. There were parts of it that I enjoyed, but it's not one of my top 10 all-time greats. Like, it won't replace The Witcher 3. It won't replace Skyrim. It won't replace any of those other games that were good RPGs. It won't replace Baldur's Gate 2. It won't replace Baldur's Gate 1. It will it's sort of like, oh, that's nice, and I moved on immediately from that.
The Outer Worlds 2's opening has me thinking this one's headed in the right direction. As long as the team at Obsidian can sustain the mechanical freedom and reactivity I saw over the course of a full game.
I like the freeze thing. That was pretty cool.
The Outer Worlds 1 ends with you determining the political future of a solar system of human colonies that's been mysteriously cut off from contact with Earth for some time. I was wondering how the studio would handle that variety of end states, and they cleverly sidestepped the issue by expanding the setting in a big way. It turns out the first game's system of Halcyon was a basket-case backwater, while a heroism yet to be fully verified Earth Federation administers to a galaxy of semi-isolated, politically heterogeneous colony systems. Our protagonist, a new one, not the character from the first game, is an Earth-fed captain on a mission to a secretive, autocratic solar system that also happens to be the exclusive manufacturer of faster-than-light engines. The zany capitalist malfeasance of the first game's corporations has been turned in for a kooky cult of personality with a penchant for brainwashing. I really dig the premise, moving in the direction of weirder, bigger sci-fi. Also, the Outer Worlds 2 just feels more expensive than anything Obsidian's made in a hot minute. It's not just the...
I do like the weapons and the gunplay that's been on display. They look likable, but here's the thing. I'm trying to think of something that makes this stand out. And I'm not... It's in outer space, but there's a number of outer space. Like, okay, first of all, it's probably going to be better than Starfield. But, again, there's other outer space things.
Great art direction and shiny Unreal Engine 5 graphics, which it shares in common with this year's earlier...
Like, outer space might just be a setting. They might not have anything like spaceship combat. They might have spaceship stuff. They'll just have you switching place from place using your spaceship. And that doesn't make a good space game. That just makes a basic RPG, but we gave you guns instead of... We gave you laser guns instead of swords. And sorcery.
Wow. There's a lot of little touches that feel premium. Pre-rendered intro cinematic, variety of unique animations and angles and conversations, no Oblivion stare here. They're keeping it to a minimum. And way more in-engine cutscenes than I expected. Like when you're dropping out of your spaceship onto the station where the prologue takes place, there's this cinematic, like, hut, 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 as they're running out of the ship. It helps explain why Microsoft briefly thought it might get away with an $80 price tag before backing off on the Outer Worlds 2. Character creation in the demo is kind of just hitting the 2020's AAA par on the aesthetic front, at least.
There it is. I saw it. Body type 1 and body type 2. Boy, at least they added some nice things like presets. Prosthetics could add to it nicely, but yeah. There's no males and females, it's just body type 1 and body type 2.
AAA par on the aesthetic front, at least. There's all the
face. I guess they got skin tone, they got head. The faces don't look too bad, but maybe it's just the body type 1 and body type 2 that's going to be the only problem in this. Here's hoping.
The hair and eye options that you could want, and all the sliders you could ask for. And if you really want to go Monster Factory mode, you can, but you probably won't make an Uggo on accident. Although my colleague Wes Fenlon correctly pointed out that I accidentally made Jared Leto with one of my guys, and Johnny Karate has been forever sullied by this association. I mostly bring up character creation because I really dug the robot prosthetic options. You have 3 RoboLimb aesthetics to choose from for each of your arms and legs, ranging from gunmetal skeleton hands to this swanky ivory ensemble like a swagged out Adam Jensen or the rich people you run into in Deus Ex Human Revolution. It's a bit of sci-fi flair I really love, and something I was always missing in Cyberpunk 2077, which otherwise I think has a much better character builder. The Outer Worlds 2 is more...
Yeah, I can agree with that. Cyberpunk character builder, when it comes to cosmetics in the thing, it's sort of, I wouldn't say limited, but I didn't feel like I was making a unique character. I feel like I was making a very generic character, and I was like putting it together in sort of like basic ingredients. It was like they were afraid to experiment or something with that game, which is unfortunate.
Streamlined in the first game in terms of stats and skills, but not in a way that I minded as a fan of complicated RPGs. You don't have attributes.
Okay, Professor, you were the prominent voice. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole thing, just a little full content. Okay. So basically what you did before, XCombat, Lawbringer, Renegade...
anymore, and at character creation you pick a background, 1 or 2 positive traits.
Okay, a trait. You're brilliant. Or you're brawny. All these are interesting. Heroic, innovative.
It's a negative trait to balance out a second positive trait if you grab 1, and 2 tagged skills, or 3 with one of the traits, which gives you an extra one and is probably the most OP and essential. It is a reduction in complexity compared to the first game, but not necessarily depth, I don't think. The skills look like they're kind of on a smaller scale, maybe 1 to 10, as opposed to the first game's 0 to 100, like in Fallout. But each rank seems to offer you more. Each rank can open up way more environment and dialogue skill checks. It's not like how in New Vegas you've got to hit like 75 barter to hit a unique dialogue option. It's more like, well, hit 3 barter, but you're not getting skill points very often. At least going off of the demo. And that design sensibility is the thing that honestly had me most excited from what I played. We're not quite in full Deus Ex or Dishonored territory, but I saw a lot of immersive sim style design that all.
Okay, that's a very good up, a good positive. Some people misunderstand when I say RPG. Like, I think an immersive sim is what I want to see from most games nowadays. When it comes to the RPG mechanics, like, if there's a food meter and they're always hungry, but okay, let's pick apart the food mechanic for a minute. If a good food mechanic would give you buffs every time you eat something, and some debuffs when you don't eat long enough periods, but that's only if you set it on hardcore mode or something like that. Now, that's a good system. A really bad system would just go out of its way to punish you for not doing a certain activity over and over again. It sort of makes gameplay repetitive and obnoxious. It's sort of what happened in No Man's Sky. If you wanted to do anything, your oxygen would always deplete quickly, and you would always have to refill it. It became an obnoxious thing to do. Thankfully, they fixed it in later patches, but
It really makes me happy in an RPG. This prologue reminded me of the design in Obsidian's criminally underrated Alpha Protocol, but way more polished than an Alpha Protocol, or the better New Vegas quests like Beyond the Beef, or Cyberpunk's side gig infiltrations that give you a lot of options with how you proceed. I played through the demo 3 times, twice going sneaky, 1 time loud, and I had a different skill setup each time to poke and prod at the different options. The straight gunplay was satisfying enough, sort of like Fallout 4. It's a little stiff, but it feels good, but there wasn't anything surprising or crazy fun. It wasn't like playing a boomer shooter or Doom. But the returning bullet time mechanic definitely spices things up a bit. And there is one caveat that the Outer Worlds 1 was all about really weird, wacky guns. I think there was a shrink ray, strange effects like that. And the demo...
I'm okay with them not having any sort of crazy guns in the beginning, in the prologue. They just want to give you like a basic weapon understanding, understanding of the gameplay. Like, the crazier weapons can wait till closer to the mid-game, but I expect them to give them once you leave there, I expect like at least a couple come your way. Relatively easy, like the science guns, like the shrink ray and something like that.
Only offers a pistol, a rifle, a dagger, and an electric baton, which does not seem indicative of the full game. So louder combat might be better than I'm giving it credit for here. Going full stealth mode and ghosting the demo, meanwhile, was way more fun for me. It doesn't look like the Outer Worlds 2 will support full pacifist playstyles. The first room in the sneaky route of the demo, there was a guard who was just kind of staring straight at the doorway, and the game hadn't given me the throw this distraction tool yet, so the only option was to kill him to get past. But there wasn't a single point in the demo where I was forced into a fight because enemies spawned in automatically alerted to my presence. There were points where it's like, oh my gosh, there are enemies coming into this room, but they aren't in the alert mode yet, so you can actually hide and stealthily take them out, which was great. I think the cardinal sin of RPGs that let you build sneaky, then punish you for it, is forcing you into fights like that. And I was really just pleasantly surprised at how many skill checks were just scattered in both dialogue and the environments. Science, engineering, and a few traits enabled access to explosive traps and environmental interactions.
Well, that's nice. Again, it's something that really is pretty cool. Again, I think this game's greatest detriment was that there was an Outer Worlds 1 and nobody was thrilled about it.
Poking around at a deactivated security mech, while lockpicking and hacking both offered up pathways around enemies to help with stealth. There was usually like a high or a low path through most kind of sneaky encounters that might be opened up with a skill.
Sounds like a good
using
idea.
A dialogue check over an intercom to convince this hapless guard to disable some security made him recognize my voice and distrust me when I ran into him in person later on and needed him to lower a bridge for me. If I couldn't make a second speech check to trade bridge access for a side quest to erase all his demerits off his permanent record, I could always just lockpick a nearby door to open up a completely separate path around him instead, which I found really interesting. I could also just provoke him into sicking security robots on me, and in a critical design failure, that also lowered the bridge because the robots had to cross it. But going loud like that would actually earn a scolding from my Federation contact who was undercover in the facility. And all throughout the demo, traits, skills, and my background unlocked proactive dialogue choices and unique
That's
offhand
very
remarks
interesting.
that made it feel very reactive.
Question is, can they maintain that throughout the entire game? Because this is the prologue section, and they might just be in the prologue section only. There is a possibility.
And, think about how much people reference your race and class in Baldur's Gate 3. This is a style of scripted, authored reactivity that Obsidian has always excelled at. And in this prologue portion of The Outer Worlds 2, it felt like my build and dialogue choices could offer a radically different experience each time through. Avowed caught a lot of flack for being a straight-up action RPG in a sort of Mass Effect mold, while having this first-person perspective that people usually associate with more open-ended games.
No, Avowed got a lot of slack because it was garbage. It had a lot of bugs. It had a lot of problems at launch, and it wasn't a fun game. I also know there was like a little bit of controversy here. I forgot what it was about, but all of that led to a nice combination of them losing a huge opening weekend. Not opening, like first weekend of release weekend of sales. And it's hard to recover, I've been told by a number of sources, if that happens. So, it's not entirely the developers of Avowed's fault. I think they were up against literally everything. They had the Obsidian name to it, so they had a hard mark they had to beat in order to get the same ranking as Fallout New Vegas and the greatest RPGs. But the problem is Fallout New Vegas is still considered a classic simply because it was a really good RPG and a really good sim.
I think that was unfair. I love Avowed for what it is. But
Okay, bro, come on. I know you gotta do this for the video, but you don't have to lie like this. Come on. I know. You don't want to anger them, but come on. You could have lied a little bit better there. I'm having a little fun. I don't know if he's actually lying. He could actually enjoy it.
But The Outer Worlds 2 feels like it could offer more of that sort of immersive sim RPG style of game. And now it's just a question of whether Obsidian was able to sustain or even expand on the really exciting design I saw in the prologue over the course of a full game north of...
See, you say all these positive things about this game, and then you tell me you like Avowed. That's going to color my vision of this. Like, whoa, that ain't good.
30 or 40 hours long.
Listen, you gotta... I was talking about Outer Worlds earlier, but then he brought up Avowed, and I was talking about that, and I realized at the very end of here that Avowed is also what's screwing you up too, because that came out earlier this year, and it was kind of an embarrassment. People were making fun of it. It damaged Obsidian's reputation, and you kind of need good reputation in order to get people hyped about your next game or your next movie or your next TV show or your next anything. Your reputation, brand damage is a very real thing, and they have massive brand, well, I say massive, but realistically they have a good amount of brand damage, but it's not like on a massive scale. It's not as bad as Star Wars or Lucasfilm or something like that. But it's still pretty bad. They didn't have like a trilogy of their best stuff being released to theaters and just being hated by everyone. Of No. But it's still in a pretty bad spot to come out in it. Now, could it be one of the best games they ever made? Yes, it could be. It could also be just an average game, which would be bad. Or it could be the worst game, which would be even worse. Their best bet is to hope that it's received at least well by regular people and regular fans, and that maybe people overlook all the, how do I put this? Let's just say, yeah, they might be forgiving of the woke aspects. I'm sorry I keep using that term, but it's literally the best term to use for it. But they might be more forgiving of it if the gameplay's good, if the story's good, if they give you a lot of options for different builds. If it's a great game, the negatives will be overlooked or even forgotten about in a few weeks. However, if it's not that good, then the negatives are going to be, well, probably blamed for its failure, and it probably expanded in people's minds bigger than what they were before. Overall, what I thought about the preview was, and what he was saying, I'm not more hyped, but I'm slightly less in the camp that it was going to be a bad game. I'm less in that camp. I'm more in the camp of, well, let's wait and see before we make any final decisions. Because let's be honest. Let's just all be honest about this whole thing. The game is from Obsidian. Obsidian had Fallout New Vegas. They also had Avowed. So there is a history of hits and misses. So there's going to be a little bit of shakiness when you pick it up. So I would say wait a bit. Let people review it. Let people talk about it. Let's see if the hype is actually there for the game. Let's see if this game is actually a home run or just, let's say a foul. Well, I'm sure it'll do at least reasonably well because it still has a good name to it. It depends if they're going to use the space theme of it more than just like as a backdrop and more of something that actually adds to the gameplay, adds to the story, adds to the thing. Yeah. It's still early. It's still early yet. It's in a few, but I don't. It's like a few days or whatever. But I don't know how to fully feel about this game yet because I do sense the potential for it to be really good, but I also sense the potential for it to be really bad and just people, oh no, not another one, and just roll their eyes. But overall, I think the group that needs this the most to go through is Obsidian. Obsidian needs this to be a home run. Avowed left a really bad taste in their mouth this year, and they need to wash it out with this. They need this to be huge. So, for their sake, I hope it's huge. I'll catch you guys in the next one. And don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave your comments. Tell me what you think about the preview in the comment section. And I'll catch you in the next one.